This is Michael Tucker, and you're watching the new Legends on Deck podcast with hosts Brian Koss and David Conde.
Hello and welcome to a special episode 50 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss with my co-host David Conde, and we want to introduce episode 50, which was a non-traditional episode with a big name. Johnny Damon is our guest for the 50th episode. Johnny did an event here in the Winter Garden, Orlando area. Horizon West is what the locals here, what we like to call it. And Johnny came out, did an autograph signing with us, and through the Mordecai Brown Legacy Foundation, and we had some great sponsors for the event as well. And Johnny came out and did a Q&A after the autograph signing, and we are turning the Q&A into our special episode, David.
Which is awesome, and you're not going to see much of me in this episode. We left it to Brian to be the star this time. He just has the voice for it, I don't. But it was great to have Johnny Damon, 50th. I mean, we talked about it. We wanted that number. We wanted the big name for number 50. It was great to have him. It was a great turnout for the event.
Yeah.
And you'll get to see a lot of that within the podcast we're going to show you. So it was great. It was just awesome being up here. I got to drive up and be with my buddy.
Yeah, it was great to have David in my neighborhood.
First podcast that we get to do live together.
Right, and yes, exactly. And the first one we were able to do live together, and we did this event in conjunction with, we did the Johnny autograph signing, and we also did the card show. So Adam Bates and I have put this thing together here locally with the Legends on Deck, local legends, because we use the word legends again, because we love the word legends, right?
Yeah.
So we call it the Local Legends Card Show. It's our first, and we're going to do more here in the Orlando area over the next 6 months to a year. We'll have a few more coming out, so stay tuned for that. So
yeah, keep watching the show. I mean, we're just going to get even bigger and better and get more guests on, but this was just, it was great to just bring number 50 and make it so special. I mean, we built this thing, a year and a half ago.
Right.
We're at 50 already.
We're at 50.
So, two fathers with kids and jobs and lives, and all we're doing is just building dreams. So it's great to just have this event today.
That's right. All right, thank you, David.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn it over to Dave Conde with Legends on Deck, and then we're going to have the Q&A with Brian Koss and with Johnny himself. So thanks again. We'll have people coming in and out.
Dave, you want to step in for a second?
So, for everybody that may not know, I'm just going to share a little bio about Johnny. He grew up playing South Orange Little League here in Orlando. He attended Dr. Phillips High School and was drafted in the first round by the Kansas City Royals in 1992. He made his major league debut in 1995. Played with the Royals for 6 seasons, played 1 season with the A's, then signed with the Red Sox, and also played with them, of course, with the Yankees. And also the Tigers, Rays, and Cleveland ended his career. He won the World Series with the Red Sox, but of course, curse of the Bambino was over, so it was great. That was a great game to see.
Thank you.
And then, of course, won it with the Yankees in 2009. And
Curse of Johnny Damon. I'm sorry they haven't been back to the World Series since they got rid of me.
And just a great 18-year Major League Baseball career, 2-time World Series champion, All-Star twice, and collected 2,769 hits, 253 home runs, and 408 stolen bases. Anything else?
We definitely got a lot better at the end, but yeah, definitely a lot more hits than that 2,600 you were trying to throw up. But no, thank you very much for the great introduction.
I just wanted to introduce real quick, like how the event came together. Get my Fox Sports update.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a NFL fantasy football draft going on right now.
Yeah, it's getting close. It's getting close.
Who's your first pick?
I don't know. I haven't made my list yet. So I just wanted to real quick introduce how the whole thing came together. So Johnny doesn't actually know this, but Adam Bates and I met last year at the camp that you guys did. So Johnny did a camp with the Winter Garden Squeeze and with the Florida Rising Stars Foundation and some other things. And Adam and I met. I did a write-up on the event, and then Adam and I have been kicking these things around, all these things with the Squeeze, and David with Legends on Deck for over a year. Johnny came out and really supported the Squeeze this summer and brought AGame out to the guys. They sucked it down like you wouldn't believe. Had at the concession stand. They were a great sponsor for the season. And then we talked to Johnny about doing something like this, and he jumped right on board, came together. So we really appreciate Johnny Damon created the Adam Bates and Brian Koss friendship too. So
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned we can do this at New York Brewery, and you know I love beer.
Well, that works for me. I think it's. I appreciate all the support we've had. Particularly, I want to give a shout out to the Horizon and the West Orange baseball teams.
Yep. Thank you.
They really came out to help today. We had a lot of setup for this thing, both from the vendor side and in here. And without the players from the teams, it's pretty awesome. Mike Scudero, the coach for West Orange, has been here, and he was awesome.
Yep.
So just wanted to say that. But we're really going to turn this process over to the crowd, and the questions are going to come from you guys. We have a couple guys I have lined up for the first couple of questions. So I'm going to give Sean from Home Run here the first question, and then I got Craig back there that's got the second question, or one of his guys got the second question. So Sean, Johnny said, Johnny's very, very laid back about this stuff. I'm like, how do you want us to handle this Q&A portion? Like, if you don't know everybody that's here. And he's,
I'm honest, people,
he's like, I don't care.
It is what it is.
Right. So, Sean, I'm going to hand it over to you for the first question.
Great. John, share with us one of your most embarrassing baseball moments.
Oh boy, one of my most embarrassing. We're going to get into it really quickly. Oh my goodness. Well, it didn't happen until like the tail end of my career. I'm playing left field for the Yankees at Fenway Park, and we might have had a big night the night before, and all of a sudden, you're playing the outfield, and you got a fart.
Oh, that's good.
And then the fart really wasn't a fart, so it was like first time in my career, about 16 years into my career, and I'm going, no way this just happened. I was like, okay.
We got a problem.
We had a problem. So that was the most embarrassing, and obviously forgetting the number of outs and striking out at a big moment, but I told some other players, and they said, oh, it happens to them all the time. So one time in 18 years is a feat.
That's enough, right?
That's enough. All right, good night, everyone.
I was going to say no more questions.
No more questions. I got a question for you. So home runs doing fantastic. You have over 5,000 customers, getting ready to reach out to 6,000. Home run. No Grand Slam, or was it taken?
We do have a Grand Slam
package program. Okay. Hey, good to know. Everybody reach out to Sean Sr., Sean Jr., and the third.
There you go. Our slogan is, we slug your bugs.
I love it. Good luck, continued success, and welcome to the Florida area. I've been here 44 years now, so I don't think I'm leaving anytime soon.
Good. We love having you.
All right, I'm back here in the back, and I want to thank the guys from Craig Martin State Farm, who's here in Horizon West, and one of the guys had a question.
Johnny, a lot of professional athletes have a hard time transitioning to retirement. What is it like to be a professional athlete transitioning from professional sports to retirement?
Well, I really had no choice. I had 6 kids when I retired and added 2 more at the very end, so I just kept on living life, enjoying the dream, and I was absolutely blessed. Growing up here in Florida, going to Weingard Elementary, Walker Junior High turning into Walker Middle School, and then Dr. Phillips, getting zoned for Dr. Phillips was an absolute blessing. I got to join the top 13-year-old team in the state of Florida, and we were able to go out there and start thumping people left and right. We had such a great team. Everybody on my high school team either turned pro or went to college, and that's a big feat. But getting used to retirement life, I think the first couple years was really tough because I knew I was still better than a lot of the guys still playing. Even I was at the age of 38, and there's a lot of young studs coming into the game. So the first couple years are tough, but right now I'm just enjoying my life. I'm enjoying the kids. You know, our little baby is now 7, and it's just an absolute thrill, and just to stay busy. I've been staying very busy with the AGame product, and we have great reviews. We're great tasting, great vitamins. You can umpire a couple games without passing out, so that's...
I told the story to him, and it was unbelievable. I've been umpiring for 30 years, and I called him after doing 4 hot games in Atlanta, 2 each day, and it's like, at 48 years old and overweight, I'm like, this is the real deal. This stuff is awesome, and trying to help get it built up here in the community, and I mean, it's the real deal. So go to Publix, go to Costco, and get it. Very reasonably priced.
Yeah, and the big reason why we started this product, it was a childhood friend of mine. You know, he created the drinks, I had the funding, and 2012 was a very difficult year for Orlando and Central Florida athletes. A lot of them were very dehydrated, and a number of them dying, mostly football players. So we wanted to have a better product for these kids. We get our hydration from sea salt, we get our sugars from natural honey, and we did have to come out with a zero because of issues that some people have, and also we sponsor Mr. Olympia, so they wanted the zero, and so zero sugar, unfortunately, you got to put fake sugar in it, but this is very clean, the all natural, and hope you guys try it, because what a lot of people don't do, the most important thing is make sure it tastes good. Like, there's been a lot of products that are on the shelves right now that just really do not taste good, and we taste great. We have a great name. You have to bring your A game every single moment of the day, whether you're a baseball player, a parent, a teacher, working for your industry, a bug guy. You got to always bring your A game, so you can never just never regret anything that life puts in front of you.
Good stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. I just wanted to plug real quick, Scott Brown with the Mordecai Brown Legacy Foundation. We're running this event through the Mordecai Brown Legacy Foundation. And if you don't know who Mordecai Brown was, 3 Fingers Brown, I suggest looking it up. I won't tell the whole story. But if you think of like the Ty Cobb, Cy Young era, he's a Hall of Famer, played for the Chicago Cubs. And the Mordecai Brown Foundation is really to give back to local, to create local interest and continuation of baseball particularly, but sports in general, and get more kids active in baseball and athletics here locally. And he's been in Pensacola, and then he's been in Orlando now for quite some time. So we're really spreading that here in the Orlando area to give back to local organizations that support little leagues and other things like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And we had a great sponsor at Dr. Phillips named Tim Bates Sr. He had his Bates Sporting Goods, and I didn't come from much. You know, I grew up across the street from the Ritz-Carlton when it wasn't there. So it's Sky Lake, South Whisper Lake area, and he sponsored me a lot through my early career, and so did Mr. Coates. And he gave me a job so I could go clean sunglasses at SeaWorld and make some money and just be able to help support my family. So we needed sponsors, and I went to Dr. Phillips. Most of those kids were pretty well taken care of. I wasn't. I had to go out there. I had to keep busting my tail and get a job and do a lot of great things, but with support from the Mordecai Brown Foundation, it means a lot to these players. I know years ago I went to South Orange Little League where I played and the money disappeared. So the season was going to be an absolute wreck. They were going to cancel it. So I went out, signed free autographs, just had people donate to South Orange Little League so these kids could actually have a season. And it was a great turnout.
The phone's ringing. You wanted the phone to be called from the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees?
Oh boy. Yeah, so being a free agent, I got traded to the Oakland A's because I had too good of a season with the Kansas City Royals, and they knew they couldn't keep me. And the only way they could keep me is if they traded Mike Sweeney and or Jermaine Dye. And I was like, I cannot put these guys in this situation where I'm going to take this contract and these guys are no longer going to be on the team. So I told the Royals, feel free to trade me. And at the time I was thinking New York. But I get traded to Oakland, and I know this person I was involved with before was very disappointed that I had to move all the way across the country and to a team that's never on TV. So that started like the second chapter of my life. And then we went to Oakland, had the best time, playing baseball with all these kids who are just getting out of college, and it was like a fraternity. And so I knew I was only going to be there for 1 year, and I knew Giambi was leaving, and we both thought we were going to the Yankees. Giambi signed, the Yankees signed Rondell White. I know his agent, Aces, are just outside of New York City or in New York City. They locked up a deal real quick, so my attention and my eyes looked at Texas first because I knew John Hart from being a little kid playing in his Christmas camps. And he really wanted me, couldn't afford me, so he had to shift money to get Carl Everett to Texas, and that opened up Boston for me. And we changed the history of how people look at the Boston Red Sox, being the losers that they were, to being one of the best franchises ever. And the World Series we won with Boston, you can never replace. I mean, after 86 years. But then the next year, the White Sox win after all these years, and my boy A.J. Brzezinski from Dr. Phillips as well won a championship with the White Sox. I was happy for him, but they booted us out of the playoffs, and that was my very last game for the Red Sox, not thinking that was going to happen. But when the opportunity to sign with the Yankees and put the pinstripes on, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, David Wells was my teammate in Boston in 2005, and he said, if Mr. Steinbrenner ever brings you on, you'll be taken care of forever. And the Yankees have been taking very good care of me.
That's awesome.
Well, I remember this being a big deal when you went from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
Huge.
Well, the reason, one of the things that was always talked about is Johnny always had the long hair and the beard, and Yankees, George Steinbrenner, no facial hair other than a mustache, I think, and you got to cut your hair. So they paid you enough money though, right?
Yeah. So whatever the rules that the boss has, and they're paying me a lot of money, you do have to pay attention. But what a lot of people don't remember is I had short hair when I signed with the Red Sox, and then after that concussion I had in 2003, I was so lazy, so out of it. Headaches every day, chiropractor a couple times a week, and I didn't have time to go get a haircut, and it just kept growing, and then I wake up one day and spring training's here, and about a week away I was like, I need to start working out. So I was living in downtown Windermere, and I was like, I need to start running, I need some competition, so I started chasing cars, or not chasing cars, but racing cars, because there was a 25 mile per hour speed limit. Or lower. It's definitely a speed trap. Come on, they'll get you for anything. Son of a gun. So I started chasing and running, and because a lot of you all don't know that I was a track star as well. So I finished fifth in the state in the 100 meters, and I finished second in the 200 meters. Never lost a 400 meter race, but I just didn't have time to train for it in like playing baseball and all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, because it's the same season.
Yeah, it's the same season, and you can only run 2 races at both relays, and I also placed in the triple jump, believe it or not, as I got 6th place in the state of Florida in the triple jump, and I was absolutely a horrible jumper. But you know, I got 1 point for the team.
Only 5 guys better.
Yes, but let me tell you something about my senior year doing the triple jump. This guy named James Beckford for Boone High School, he was so much better than us. He was jumping 58.5 feet. Well, guess what? He was in the Olympics that summer for Jamaica. So that's how good he was, and nobody had a chance to beat him.
Wow. Wow. Can I open it up? Who's got a question in the back over here? One of my Horizon guys. I've been letting you fester on this for a while now.
I asked them a tough question earlier, and it was a no-brainer. So.
Okay, we got one right over here.
Where are we at?
Johnny, what are some of your favorite teammates that you played with?
Favorite teammates?
Yeah, so going back to my Kansas City Royal days, I would say Mike Sweeney and Jermaine Dye. I pretty much grew up with them when I was 21 years old until I was 27, so that was our college experience. Then I get traded to Oakland, and there you have a lot of 21-year-olds, and then you have Giambis, and it was just an absolute great time. The team had their private plane, so every plane trip was absolutely out of control, and so they played hard on the field, played hard off, and but as long as we took care of business on the field, we were in great shape. But then if you go to, let's say in Boston, obviously my first year in Boston, Ricky Henderson was there. He would never let me get out of the card game to go get loose on the field. So Ricky would play until 1 minute before I had to be standing in center field. So Ricky was great to be around. Carlos Baerga was there the first year, and I mean, you come around so many great baseball players and teammates because baseball is a failure sport. I mean, you have to learn how to take the good with the bad. You have to learn how to pick yourself up when things aren't going right. And I think that's a big reason why we are losing a lot of the kids because for the sport, because it is a failure sport. And you have to pick yourself up. You're going to fail a lot of times, but I think that builds strong character.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be knocked down, but you see, you know, a strong person when they pick themselves up and get back on track and get going again. I was a very streaky hitter. I wouldn't necessarily go over 20, and you know, I might mix in 3 hits during that time, but I can get very streaky. Like, there's a stat out there. I remember when Blackman for Colorado had this 5-game hitting streak. They're like 22 hits or 23 hits, and they went back into history and they're like, let's see who else have done it. Johnny Damon, 25 hits. Oh, Johnny Damon, 24 hits during that same time. And so I was on that list 3 out of 5 times, so I did get streaky at times, and I absolutely loved it.
Well, you got to have a lot of publicity when you get on that streak. Everybody talks about that streak. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's great. Over here.
So throughout your career, obviously, 100 hits, right? That's fantastic.
2769, but okay.
Yeah,
I'm not counting.
There's a lot of those guys, right? Borderline Hall of Famers that we talk about, a teammate of yours, Kurt Schilling, and others.
Right.
What are your thoughts on all of that? And do you think guys like yourself, Kurt, should be enshrined in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think in my situation, I should have had a much better look. And I'm just saying with the numbers that I had, they are a lot better than some of the guys who are out there, especially my production numbers from the leadoff spot. I mean, there's a lot of guys getting in right now who whose numbers aren't going to be like mine, but when you look at batting average, like you can protect your batting average as much as you can. You can bunt on a 8-run lead. You can steal bases when they don't count. But I feel like I went out there, played the game the right way. But I do think I will have a slight chance with the Veterans Committee. We'll see. But there's some guys out there who really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame right now. I really think Gary Sheffield.
Yeah.
I really, I know when that era came out, he got in trouble for a cream, which I would have had no idea that a cream could actually make you play baseball better.
Yeah.
So, but he's one guy. Kenny Lofton was the best leadoff guy and center fielder for a long time until I came around.
Do you think you get punished because you played during that steroid era? Or the guys around you as well?
Well, I don't think I'm punished because I still to this day haven't done it. But you get thrown in this category that the numbers were so inflated, and I'm really not against what those guys did. I think back in the day I was, because I kept being put in that list because I was successful. I was, all natural. I was this size at the age of 13, 6'1", 180. And so now I could care less. The guys the two best players, say position player and pitcher, Roger Clemens, 7 Cy Youngs, Barry Bonds. Both of those guys never tested positive for steroids, but some of the guys who got into the Hall did test positive at one point or another, but it kind of just got swept. So those guys never tested positive, but they're guilty, and those are the two best at their positions in our lifetime. I mean, Barry Bonds was an absolute beast. I mean, that year that he hit 73 home runs, he got intentionally walked 215 times or something like that. That's absolutely insane. And yeah, so Major League Baseball is very tough to get into the Hall. I know football, they have 5 guys being inducted today, and they all deserve it. I mean, that's a tough freaking sport. That's why I quit. I didn't want to get hurt anymore. So, so we'll see what happens. And regardless, I'm a happy person. I just keep on rolling with the punches. I keep on enjoying life, and will continue to do so. And plus, I'm not sure if I have that time during the summer, a week to go do all that stuff. 8 kids, I mean, I'd rather be hanging out with them at the pool.
To tweak that question a little bit, and I'll go back to the audience, but your hit numbers, right? So you getting very close to that 3,000 hit mark. You hit 3,000, you're a slam dunk Hall of Fame. What do you think can you look back and see any tweaks or injuries or things that prevented you from getting to that mark? And were you even conscious of the fact that you were close to 3,000?
That really didn't cross my mind. What crossed my mind was always being a great teammate and a person who always went out there and tried to win ball games. And that's why, instead of trying to bunt the guy over, I would try to at least move it over, hopefully find a hole or something. But winning the championships was all that mattered to me. I mean, when I saw George Brett hoist the trophy back in 1985, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be in the middle of the action. I want to be the guy that helps everyone accomplish their goals. And I was able to do it twice. And for 2 historic franchises that only Babe Ruth and I are the only 2 starters from both organizations. But
you beat me to that. I love that fact, and I've looked it up about 10 times. I'm like, is that true? Is that true? But then I'm thinking, Roger Clemens, Wade Boggs, played for both organizations, but didn't win with both.
Yes, and that's very true. And when you go back to my numbers, there's only 3 guys in the history of the game who played 140 plus games for 16 straight seasons. It was Willie Mays, Brooks Robinson, and myself.
Wow.
and I couldn't get a job my last year, but I get it. The game has definitely changed, the sabermetrics and all that stuff, and there's a lot of young talent coming up for sure. And Cal Ripken would have been in that list, but there was a strike or two in the middle of that. And then one of 3 players, over 200 homers, 1,000 RBIs, 400 bags, 500 doubles, and all that good stuff. And that was Paul Molitor, Willie Mays, and myself. So, so I kind of snuck up on a lot of people's radars because I was in Kansas City, not on TV a lot of times, and then I was getting my 30 doubles a year, getting my 20 bags and 100 plus runs, and then just doing it quietly. And as you can tell, today's players, they celebrate every hit they have. They're getting these hits, and they're still down 6 runs, and they're like saying, "Let's go." It's like, all right, come on, been there, done there.
You look at the batting averages. There's about 4 guys hitting 300 right now.
Yes, it's man. I love our union. These guys are hitting 190, making $25 million a year. I'm like, son of a gun. They were being either released or in the minor leagues in our time. And if not, we would be vocal about it. How can we use this guy? But anyways, like I said, it's changed. I love the fact these guys are breaking the bank. And and it's because of our strong union that we've had ever since Curt Flood, and it's going to continue to be strong.
That's a good point. The Reds, so the year the Red Sox. Let me switch to Yankees. I don't want to confuse the two, right? So Yankees. So to speak to what you had just said about being a good teammate. I saw an article recently where A-Rod had said, we got Johnny Damon, we didn't win the World Series. Before we got Johnny Damon, we didn't win the World Series, and after he left, we didn't win it again for the next few years. So A-Rod's point was, and that's high praise from there's another guy with enormous stats, right? Coming from the fact that you were a team player in that way, and you were able to maybe elevate the level of game coming from players on your team to be that missing piece that they were looking for.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing that I did was take the pressure off of everybody else. So we would lose a game, and reporters would want to talk to the guy who potentially lost the game for you, but they were already showered and heading home, and I'm always there being accountable for myself and for my team. And they would ask me, how come you guys lost this game? I was like, well, I should have got a hit in the first inning. So it's kind of like I could handle the pressure. They come down on you. I'm not sure if these players could be yelled at like we were yelled at back in the day. It's like son of a gun, the stuff they called me and my family. It's like, but
a lot softer.
Yeah. So. Now someone gets kicked out of a game but yeah, I know how to take pressure, handle pressure, and take everything off of their shoulders.
Yeah, well, that's a huge compliment coming from a superstar. Yes?
I have a different question. So, do you play sport cards, and which is the most valuable one or more important for you?
Yeah, well, definitely as a kid, I collected a lot more cards, and then when I started playing, my brother took over all the baseball cards, and I'm not sure where he has put them. Storage unit somewhere, I don't know, but a very prized card for me as a kid was the George Brett rookie card. I had a Ricky Henderson rookie card. I had a Mickey Mantle, not in such great mint condition, which was a 61. And myself, I have over 1,500 to 2,000 cards, so it's really tough to keep up. But I think it's great.
Do you have a favorite of yours that was printed of you, or a couple favorites?
Not really.
My son George came across one of your A's cards, and we talked the other day about like, I had even forgotten you'd played for the A's, but we got one in a pack recently, one of those repacks, so it was kind of cool.
Well, I wish I would have had like a Billy Ripken card with his bat. There's a card of mine that Joe Randa is actually on the card instead of me.
Oh no!
Yeah. Well, that's a rare. That's got to be worth some money, I think.
Yeah,
that's one of those rare error cards.
Yeah, he was swinging right-handed, and yeah, I only swing the golf club right-handed. So.
Right. That's great. Right here.
Hey Johnny. So the media likes to make a big deal out of Yankees, Red Sox. Obviously, fans are very loyal. What's it like for the players? Do they feel that same level of intensity and dislike, or is that something that's kind of made up and imposed on you as a player?
There's not as much dislike, but there's certain players who hate other players on the other team. Like a lot of people hated Kevin Youkilis, like because he would pop out and slam his bat, and we're like, I mean, this is going to happen a couple hundred more times this year. I always got along with him. I was there in Boston when he was a rookie. A lot of people didn't like Posada, just how people look from the other side. I always had respect for the Yankees, how they went out and they hustled, because I couldn't say the same thing about a few of my teammates in Boston. Like, hit a ground ball, it's an easy double play, and your inning's over. So, me jumping ship, those guys had respect for me and the way I carried myself and the way I played, and Mr. Steinbrenner did, and there weren't too many other guys on my Red Sox team that Mr. Steinbrenner would have wanted to bring over, but I was definitely their third guy because Mike Myers and Mark Bellhorn went over from the Red Sox before me, but unfortunately they didn't get the batteries thrown at them or the names called like I did.
Well, the New York media the pressure from the New York media may also put some of that on the players.
The New York media was super easy. The Boston media is tough because the Red Sox owned the radios and the newspapers, so whatever story that needed to get out there, it was going to get out there, and it just really didn't matter.
Wow.
Like, they could say whatever they want. You can't defend yourself. Part of it.
There you have it. Boston media is tougher. In the back over here.
Favorite part of playing for the Yankees, the short porch in right field. You kind of just stand on the plate and dare them to get something. Like whether it's inside or outside, you can cover the plate and hit a home run. Worst part playing for the Yankees, it was awesome. Like the clubhouse food was incredible. Especially when you're a visiting player too, like they make the best Philly cheesesteaks. That was good, but I really didn't have a bad time in anywhere I played until, I get released Cleveland at the tail end of my career, but it happens,
We got one here, and then I'm going to, we got a horizon. So let's do 1, 2, and then Adam's wrapping up with the last question. Yep.
Do you think growing up in the Orlando area gave you a distinct advantage over developing players from the north? And do you think Orlando can really sustain a Major League Baseball?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, I do believe athletes coming from the south, especially Orlando, it gives us a huge advantage against the kids up north because we have year-round time to play. Conditioning is, we can get in pretty good condition just walking to our car later on. Like we're going to be sweating and spend a couple moments out there. The second part of your question?
Do you think Orlando can sustain a Major League Ball club?
I think Orlando can sustain a Major League Ball club much better than St. Pete can. And I am with the team trying to bring them here and hopefully it works. I know Steinberg has said he wants to keep the team in St. Pete, which is, they're not even surviving in St. Pete right now, but hopefully we can make a move here soon and we can have Major League Baseball here by 2020.
28, I think, is when their contract with the stadium, no?
Man, it seems like it keeps
27?
extending like years, yeah.
Somewhere around. It's only a few years. It's turning 23.
Because back in 2000, we're like, we got to wait till 2022, and then now the dates. But I think we have some great places. We can possibly put a stadium like right next to Aquatica. You have a lot of different roads, Universal, International Drive, 528, all that can all bring you in. And there's also some land over by Gaylord Palms, which could be a very good location as well. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And we have a lot of great baseball players who have come out of the Central Florida area. And I just think it would be a lot better, or unless they can move something to the I-4, I-75 corridor, but we know how bad that traffic is now. I heard it's like third worst in the country now, behind California.
Wow, those are good questions. Ryzen in the back. You guys got a group? You got it together now? All right.
The toughest catcher to steal a bag on, that's a very good question. And, you know, everybody would say Pudge Rodriguez because he always calls a fastball when fast guys are on base. So as a hitter, you're like, all right, let's go, another fastball, keep on bringing these fastballs. So that's what made him very tough, and obviously he was very good. Wieters for Baltimore was a really tough guy to steal. He called a great game. Jason Varitek probably called the best games of anyone I've been around. And also like the Molina brothers, they were all good, from Benji to Jose and Yachty. Yeah, they were all pretty good.
Yeah, other great question. All right, so Adam is going to get the last question, and it kind of falls in the same vein over here.
Let me ask this real quick, because you did the catchers.
Yeah.
Just real fast.
Yeah.
Who did you absolutely dominate, and who absolutely dominated you from the hill?
From the hill, it seemed like I did very good off of the aces. Not Pedro, not Clemens, but like say Roy Halladay, because I saw how they positioned me. Second baseman was towards the first base hole, shortstop towards third, so I had the middle, and you can't overswing off him. So I just was playing pepper up the middle, had great success off of him. I did very well off of any Baltimore Orioles pitchers during my career, because I always knew going in there was going to be a home run and a stolen base or something. So it could be different now because I know they're playing very good, and surprisingly, and good for them. But Mariano, he has one pitch and you know what's coming and you can't hit it. I mean, he broke so many of my bats, and I think he probably broke 4 bats, 1 at bat from me. I was just like, there's nothing I could do. That cutter moved so much. So towards the end of my career, I started scooting up to the mound, but now that makes it look like his fastball is 112 miles per hour and still tough to hit. But this guy deserved to be first ballot, obviously, but every single vote counted for him, which should have happened for Griffey and Jeter as well. But, you know, politics of it. Some writer wanted to have a story written about him.
All right, and to wrap up, and we want to thank you very much. We'll spend a few more minutes, but I want to wrap up because this is inaugural Local Legends, and we have a lot of people coming from the I-4 corridor and who you played against, you had teammates with, but you realized in 2004, Jason Varitek's Lake Brantley High School.
Yep.
Mark Beltmore from Oviedo via Auburn,
Yep.
and of course Wake over in Melbourne. I mean, Central Florida was that 014.
Yep.
So did you realize that at the time that you had local buddies that you played against growing up, and then all of a sudden it's here? And then just how much talent is from here as we kind of finish this up?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it, especially playing with Bellhorn because we played summer ball against each other. He joined my summer ball team one year, and just growing up with him and going to Team Florida together over in Stillwater, Oklahoma, just getting to know all these guys. And Doug Mankiewicz was on my Team Florida team. Yeah, and they all stayed at my parents' house when we were growing up, when we had to hang out for about a week or 10 days, and my mom was cooking all of her rice food for us and spoiling us, and all the kids were saying we're having the best time at the Damon's house. And but just being able to win with a lot of the guys that you knew and grew up, and we really wish, like looking back after winning that World Series, that all of us could have been the group that says we're going back home, we're going to Disney. I think that would have been a really cool experience, but you know, we got to do it ourselves. We got to accomplish what 86 other teams before us coming from Boston could not do, and what we did was absolutely amazing. And people always ask me which is better World Series. Like the Yankees, very important. Their last one, sorry guys, but winning after 86 years, it's you bring joy to a lot of families, and it was a great celebration.
Brian, you want to wrap it up?
Absolutely. So, Johnny, first, we appreciate you coming out here today, spending time with us. We had a great interaction with fans, pictures, autographs. Everybody had a great time. So we appreciate that. Want to thank sponsors, of course, AGame. Johnny talked about AGame. And then Home Run Pest Control, who's right here, Craig Martin, State Farm, two great local businesses, Paris Baguette, who was here earlier, Huey Magoo's has been a supporter, and then of course Mordecai Brown Legacy Foundation, who we're running the event for, and of course myself and David with the Legends on Deck podcast, we're doing the media side of things. Christian's doing the recording here, awesome guy, and appreciate all the support here in the community to come out for our first show of this, and Johnny being the big name that drew everybody in. So we appreciate that. And thanks for coming. Make sure you go check out the card vendors if you haven't been over there already. They've been real busy in there. So some really good card vendors from all over the area. PLM Collectibles runs the Lake Nona show. He's here. He was supporting our show. The Orlando Card Show put out things about this. So we've had a really good support. Again, I'll mention Horizon High School and West Orange High School, the ball players over there, for helping pull this whole thing together. So thank you guys. Have a great day.
From NYPD.
And of course, NYBP, the New York Beer Project, for allowing us to host this event here. Everybody go downstairs, eat some lunch, have some beers, enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.